Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Game Hub. I'm your host Gamer K, and it is the end of July, and I'm so happy for it. No more scorching heat, no more, if you've been living in Windsor for the last month, it's been rain central. Makes me think I should be reviewing Heavy Rain for that, but nope. This is finally time to do one of my favorite topics, anime, and it's an anime thing. What is it? You wouldn't understand. Okay, just making sure. I can't read upside down. And because of my shirt, it is time for me to do my top 13 anime moments. These are moments in anime that make me gasp with applause or become really sad. Moments that I never would have seen coming in a million years. And I'm a pretty good detective when it comes to pinpointing the plot twist or what's going to happen. So, regular rules for my top 13 videos, especially one that's this open. One moment per anime, only anime I've watched, only up to certain story elements that I have been up to. And obviously, because this does deal with story and plot, let's see, spoiler warning is in effect. So I'm going to talk about the anime first, and then I'll get to the moment. So if you haven't been in that certain spot, the warning's right there for you. Just saying. Now let's get down to it. These are Gamer K's top 13 anime moments. And why top 13? Because here at the Game Hub, only the odd can be number one. Let's start off the list at number 13, El Drago versus Bafal. Yeah, who remembers Beyblades when you were a kid? And then the sequel happened. But after the success of Beyblade V-Force, and the big climax of Beyblade G Revolution. The Metal series came out, spawning 3 of its own. Beyblade Metal Fusion, Metal Masters, and then Metal Fury. And all honesty, the villain / rival, Ryuga, is by far one of the most undefeated characters in anime. No, seriously, check out his stats. He lost twice throughout the entire Trip 3 series. That's impressive. But the battle I'm talking about here, the moment, is him battling with Team Starsbreaker's Jack and his Beyblade Evil Bafal, which is basically the Peacock. Now because it's a 3-round elimination and their first person already lost, you know the heroes were going to win the second one. And because they didn't have a second player, Ryuga stepped in to basically show up the guys and basically to get back at the owner of the team, who basically is in league with the guy from Season 1, who would eventually return in Season 3, and then who would eventually return in the spin-off Shogun Steel. Isn't anime about spinning tops just a blast? Now, obviously, the battle goes on for a little bit, and Wicked Bafal starts actually draining El Drago's power. And after using its special ability and carving a peacock into the stadium, El Drago revs up and basically KOs this bird in one blast. And I love it. Let's get a little bit cheating because I've never played the Phoenix Wright video games. Yes, hold your angry mob. But watching the anime really made me love it because it's anime Law and Order. There's no dum-dum, right? Okay, good. Now, the moment I'm talking about in Phoenix Wright, I mean, there are a lot of them, but the one for me was the ending of Season 1, basically Wright versus the Killer. And I'm not saying the killer in French. His name is Shelly the Killer, who is he's basically an assassin for hire and will kill people, with a price. And a movie star was murdered by him, orchestrated by the rival celebrity, Matthew Ungard. And we know it's him because, for one thing, there was a recording of the murder, and Shelly leaves his signature spiraled shell. Wow. What a lame calling card. And throughout the trial, Ungard is claiming that he's innocent because he was the prime suspect. And then it's revealed near the half of the series of this saga of episodes, which is basically 4 episodes, that he did hire the killer to get rid of his rival. And if Phoenix doesn't defend him as his client, the killer kidnaps Maya, who's the assistant of Phoenix, so he can't tell anyone, or else, Maya's done. And throughout the trial, the killer eventually appears as a walkie-talkie voice box. Who remembers walkie-talkies, ladies and gentlemen? No one nowadays. So basically, throughout the trial, the proof of the killer's crime is the videotape, which Phoenix shows the killer and asks who recorded it. And it was Matthew Ungard, by his own admission, that he needed insurance against the killer. And through the trial, the killer talks about his trust with his clients. What he does is a form of trust. And yeah, he doesn't take betrayal lightly, saying that if anyone were to betray his trust, he would turn them into a target themselves. And watching this segment of him realizing that Ungard literally tricked him and betrayed him, seeing Ungard just spiral, worried about the killer, and then confesses at the end of the episode, it's just beautiful to watch. I'm sad that we didn't get to see the killer again. It would have been a great cameo. And honestly, this moment, definitely one of my favorites in this show. So, good on them. Coming at the next spot, Case File 221 Kabukicho, or AKA Anime Sherlock Holmes. And I'm just going to say this. This anime has the Game Hub alumni of voice actors. It's got Ian St. Clair, Josh Greel, Justin... I can't remember his name. The guy who voices Izuku. This anime had me from the voice cast, and the rest of it shows. It's an amazing series with doing Sherlock Holmes mysteries, and I love it. Especially seeing Ian St. Clair being Sherlock and doing his Rakugo detective work near the end of the case. And I just love it. And dear God, did they not pull the wool over my eyes. I knew exactly how this was going to play out because I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan, so I saw it coming. And the moment I'm talking about is Cracked Teapot. People who don't know the show, you need to watch it before listening to me rant. So, if you haven't seen the show and you feel liking it, if you're a Sherlock Holmes fan or a mystery fan, skip this segment and go right to the next number on the list. Basically, near season 2's ending, it is shown that Moriarty has, from prison, who is a little kid and is voiced by Justin, has been orchestrating murders and in an elaborate way, and then for some reason during these murders, the killers recite numbers and then kill themselves. And honestly, I kind of saw the plot twist going a little bit because Moriarty, for anyone who's a Sherlock Holmes fan, saying Moriarty isn't the villain is like saying Bella in Twilight is competent. Did that joke sink in? Good. Basically, in flashbacks of him as a child, Moriarty talks about how his heart is like a cracked teapot. There's a hole in it, and no matter how much good intentions his parents and his sister put into it, it would fall out. This is a literal representation of a sociopath. Because during the flashbacks near the end of season 2, he sees a lightning strike hit the pond in his home and the fish float up. His mom is in the bath. He takes the hairdryer and throws it. So basically, yeah, little Moriarty is a sociopath. In all honesty, I saw this coming a mile away before they even got to this. How? Because in the earlier episodes, like episode 2 or 3, it showed Moriarty in a park collecting his 4-leaf clovers. A blue butterfly lands on the bench next to him. The lights flicker. Moriarty is gone, and the butterfly is crushed. That is what sealed it for me. Because anyone who would just deliberately destroy a beautiful creature like that is remorseful. It was confirmed in the season. And it just shows that no matter what he did, he acts like a human being, but he doesn't have a heart. He doesn't have remorse for anything. And it's shown later in the show, more in the show. And it's just beautifully done. Even though Case File 221 Kabukicho is a lesser known anime, and it's a shame that it is, it did one of the most incredible reveals, even though I saw it coming. It was a reveal that brought some tears and some thought process along with it for any more Sherlock Holmes fan. I mean, I know anime does twists when they do adaptations, but this one was a twist that honestly I was glad I caught in the end. Okay, this one is a little bit near a middle that kind of got me, that kind of didn't, because Black Clover loves spoiling us with its openings. Black Clover is honestly an anime that I have loved from the start. And anyone who says it's a ripoff Naruto, funny, I don't see 500 filler episodes in Black Clover. Basically, the moment in this anime for me was Zegard's reveal. This was during near the end of the elf arc. And all honesty, I did not see it coming in the slightest. When one of the possessed elves was grabbing the stone and Raya was talking to him, like being fulfilled, and Raya, being of the dishonest, knowing a lie, he asks, why did he tell a lie? And then he gets struck, and then the elf gives this creepy smile that, all honesty, puts Pennywise out of work, ladies and gentlemen. And then it's revealed that he was, in fact, a devil. And not only that, the devil! Okay, not the devil, because there's a lot of devils in Black Clover. But basically, all the flashbacks we've got from the elf's previous lives and that the humans slaughtered them, it was all a manipulation by Zegard. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. In order to make someone with a 4-leaf clover go into despair enough to create a 5-leaf clover, which would give him his own devil abilities. Okay, this isn't the most, I'm not going to talk most about this, but that, all honesty, I didn't see it coming. And for Zegard to be so overpowered, and to be one of the, sorry I'm babbling a lot and jumping back and forth. One of the types of villains I love a lot are villains who can orchestrate a plan and actually have it work from behind the scenes without anyone getting wise. And Zegard's plan was honestly one of the better ones that I've seen in anime. It's kind of like the Xehanort from Kingdom Hearts, how he orchestrated all the events in all the games. And it works. Good on you, Zegard. Luckily, your death scene was also as epic. Next on the list, The Promised Neverland. Now, granted, I haven't seen Season 2 yet. I'm waiting for the episodes to build up so I can binge. But honestly, for a moment's list, Promised Neverland, you all know what moment I'm talking about. I'm talking about the children's escape from the farm, is what I'm calling it. All honesty, I didn't think they were going to do it. With Emma being injured and Ray being a traitor and Norman's death, you would think that that this end of the show would be them failing. Because some parts of me kind of did wish, because it would be a little cool of an ending, and then Season 2 they find a new way to get out. But all honesty, I'm happy these little tykes got out. And it was such an ingenious plan, go from start to finish. And then they reveal that the other kids knew, and I didn't know that was going to happen. I was completely in the dark, along with a bunch of the viewers, unless you read the manga. But it still caught me off guard, and it made me cheer for them every step of the way, wanting them to get out, Mother not catching them. And all honesty, if this is what they did, I'm honestly looking forward to season 2. Hopefully it doesn't, my expectations aren't destroyed. Next one. I love Food Wars. I've watched the entirety of Food Wars up to season 4, but season 5 I'm waiting for English because I like watching the English dubbed. And there are so many moments in all the seasons that make me want to add them all to this list. But the one that really gets me and deserves around the halfway mark of this list is Soma challenging Kojiro. Literally, season 1 of the show, and one of my favorite characters, Kojiro Shinomiya, being an ass to the students, especially Megami, just because she changed his recipe to cope with a bad situation, and failing her made me shocked. And then Soma has the balls to challenge not only an alumni of the school, a graduate, a former #1 seat, and a guy who's a chef owner practically at my age, if I'm remembering the age thing correctly. And I love Soma, and this is like a newbie chef challenging Chef Ramsay on protocol or how to cook a Wellington. It's something you don't want to see because you know it's going to end badly, but at the same time, you want to keep watching. And not only does Soma go balls to the wall and basically challenging him to a food war, a new student challenging an alumni and professional chef to a battle to save his friend from expulsion. If the entirety of that moment made me want to watch Food Wars more. A good halfway mark of season 1 is, honestly, I was a little bit gonna stop watching it, but then this moment made everything worth it, and all the moments afterwards made it better. So I love this moment because it cemented my love for the show, and all honesty, I'm still happy with the outcome of it. And I personally can't wait for what season 5 has to give. Next up on the list, you're all going to make fun of me. I just know it. But I'm a sucker for romance. And I'm a sucker for cute moments. Teasing Master Takagi-san. Yeah, I'm not kidding. One moment from this little slice of life, cute anime about a boy and a girl who constantly teases him, but he kind of likes her. And then at the end of season 1, it turns out she kind of likes him too. And the one thing I love about the show is that no matter what goes on, she can always tease him and outsmart him in a way, and it's always good. But it's the end of season 2 that brought a tear to my eye, and again, just like The Promised Neverland, had me somewhat cheering. So the fireworks festival is where they technically go on a date, and it's really fun. The majority of stuff happens. They run into his friends, they make a comment, it brushes by, and then they play some games where she teases him, he loses, or she beats him. And then when the fireworks start, they get separated. And honestly, it makes me worry that what's going to happen. I mean, nothing bad would happen, but just basically something that would happen. And so she goes to the up of the shrine in order to get a better view of everything. And his 2 friends are watching the fireworks, and his one friend notices that where she's gone. And then when he sees him looking for her, he shouts out to him, telling him where she went. This moment made me realize that this dude is a real one. He is a real wingman. He didn't mock his friend for this kind of thing, but he's helping him go get her. And the way he clenched his fist, looking up at the sky, all happy, it's like I did my best. It's up to you now, my friend. And then he finally sees her. She's up here, he's down here, they meet at the middle, and the fireworks end. So they don't get to watch the fireworks, but he spends the entire time looking for her. Can season 3 get here now? Like, I'm going nuts. It's one of those anime that it's a small slice of life anime, but at the same time, it makes me love it. It makes me want every moment to happen more. And all honesty, any people who watch this is a good way of getting your crush to notice you a little bit. Just gonna say, and that's no trickery. Next on the list is an anime that gets my blood pumping. Megalobox! And for God's sake, I'm glad season 2 is out, and I will binge as soon as I can. And the moment that got me in Megalobox, that made me shout out, was, your tomorrow is coming. Near the end of the series, Joe has managed to beat all the odds and fight some of the best, even being blackmailed into quitting. But he finally gets his shot at the final four. And all without wearing gear. Everyone else is wearing gear, and he's just doing bare fist. And it's just a good underdog story. And then, the minute he gets there, he is being told by the mob guy that's helped them to throw the fight against the Glenn Lion dude in order to make money. And his trainer, Nanbu, tells him to follow in. And I hate this moment. But at the same time, it's one of the best moments in anime. For one reason. Not only does... Oh my god, I can't. Not only does the kid who helps them tell Joe that this isn't what you wanted. Get up, when he's knocked out by the guy. But Yuri is standing right there saying that, don't let me down. And then as Joe's eyes close, almost in defeat, he hears, get up! And it's through the voice comm that Nanbu is in the private room fighting the mobsters guys so that they don't stop the little guy from encouraging Joe. Telling Joe that no one is going to take your tomorrow from you. To get up and fight. This is your moment. And that he's got the skills of a champion. And that makes Joe get up and get rid of his gear. And he's not done. And he's done fighting dancing with a lion. And Nanbu is up in the room fighting off the goons. Not making sure Joe finishes this fight. And he does it. He fights with heart, with passion, with determination, and he wins. After 3 rounds, 2 minutes into the third round, he wins, and the mob guys are out. What makes this moment fantastic is that the mob guy threatens Nanbu that he screwed them for the last time. To that end, Nanbu grabs a fork and stabs his remaining eye out, going blind. He stuck up for Joe when the time came, but he would never ever see Joe become a champion. This moment gets me encouraged, and it gets me a heart pumping just from that emotional moment to get up. And the phrase, your tomorrow is coming, really resonates with me. And for anyone out there who people keep saying that you can't do anything or that you try your hardest and you feel like it's not enough, I'm telling you, your tomorrow is coming. And no one will take it away from you. That's a little inspirational speech from me and Megalobox to go after your tomorrow. And I need a drink from that, ladies and gentlemen, so excuse me. Thank you. Next up on the list, we're more than half of the list. We're at number 5, and this one, I never thought a Yu-Gi-Oh moment would get this high on a list in terms of awesome moments when compared to animes like, Megalobox, Food Wars, My Hero Academia, and all the others. But this one comes from the latest of Yu-Gi-Oh! And when I never thought was going to happen, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. Yes, I know a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans are like, really? You're picking a moment from here? Why? Because it shocked me to no end, and from Yu-Gi-Oh! That's hard to do. It basically happens in Season 2 during the battle of Varys versus Windy. For people who've watched it, you know what I'm talking about. And this is, in this version of Yu-Gi-Oh!, we have kidnapping 6 children, experimenting on them in order to create artificial intelligence. I'm sorry, I did not see that in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Worlds when I was a kid. But the moment that got on this list is after that. It involves that, and at the same time, knowing what happened with Lightning, what he did to Windy, it kind of makes this moment a little less because it was kind of manipulation. But I didn't know that when I made the list. So basically, during the duel with Varys and Windy, Varys explains that of all of the 6 humans that were used to create the 6 Ignis, you know, of all the elements, Flame, Windy, Lightning, Aqua, and Earth. Out of the six children, one of them is no longer of this world. And not only do they say that, but they show a little bit of it in flashback form. The kid, obviously not the kid because it was 10 years later. The person that he's referring to died in a car crash due to a faulty AI. And it shows that it was Windy. And it's even more when he said, the way he says it, right, and accident. And it just goes to show that Yu-Gi-Oh! Can surprise you. We have an admitted murder on Yu-Gi-Oh! Not banished to the shadow realm. All the shadows will get you. All the shadows are coming to get you. No, legitimate murder from an AI. All because he didn't want a partner. And that makes the moments in Vrains even more elevated. And that's what I love about Vrains. I mean, I still need to finish it. But, yeah, and then it's revealed that Lightning kind of altered Windy's personality in order to gain an ally in the war, because Lightning realized that of the 6 Ignis, he was the one that humanity couldn't live without, and Lightning couldn't deal with that. So, but all in all, Windy killed a human being because he didn't want a partner. That is something that has never been done in Yu-Gi-Oh! And honestly, I don't think it ever will. Vrains was one of the darkest seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh! Not dark because it constantly had moments like this, but because the way they peppered them in so beautifully, it's amazing that this show that I loved could go so far as, and it's not just in the original version that's in this. It's in the English dubbed that's put on TV for kids. And I love that they went that far and they allowed it to happen. All honesty, Yu-Gi-Oh! Definitely got a big spot on this list, and it's well-deserved. Well-deserved Yu-Gi-Oh! Now let's continue. Coming at this part of the list is a moment that is literally the first freaking episode of this series, and it made everything even better and everything happen in this show. I am talking about Death Note and L's deduction of Kira. To set the stage a little bit, so Kira, in the first episode, Kira finds, or Light Yagami finds the Death Note and starts practicing it on a whole bunch of criminals. And as he's telling Ryuk about how he's booby-trapped his desk, of all how cautious he's being, there's an announcement on the telly. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of British shows, and they always call it the telly, and it's annoying. About an Interpol agent named Lind L. Taylor, who is talking about the murders of Kira. And all honesty, this is where it shows that Kira is an idiot half the time. Where the guy on the TV basically says what he's doing, killing all these criminals, what he's doing is evil. And that literally just makes Kira go crazy and ranting that he's a god of a new world and any who would oppose me will die. So he writes the guy's name out, and then in 1 minute, Taylor dies of a heart attack on TV. And Kira has a good laugh about this until the screen goes kind of gray and with a black L on it. And a computerized voice comes out. Oh my God. And it's the best moment of the show. I don't care what anyone says. This is the best moment of the show, hands down. L telling Kira that the guy he just murdered was an inmate who was supposed to be killed on that day. So L used this guy to lure Kira into killing him, and it worked. And the reason Kira didn't know this is because the criminal was arrested secretly, so he wouldn't have heard about it from the internet or local police. Which honestly is a beautiful, beautiful moment. And as if catching him killing someone and trying to figure out how he did it, that he didn't need to be there to kill, as if figuring that out wasn't enough, L deduces Kira's motivations, well, not motivations, but basically got him immediately by saying, although this was announced as a worldwide broadcast, the truth is we are broadcasting in the Kanto region of Japan. And L tells him that he had planned to broadcast the message around the world, but they found him right at the start. And L's deduction of how he found out, of how he deduced this about Kira, is honestly, it is freaking brilliant. L is so ingenious. Spencer Reed, Derek Morgan, and the cast of Criminal Minds, get out of the way. L is the real master profiler. He basically tells Kira that the first of his victims was a guy whose name and crime was publicized, and it was wasn't the worst crime ever. Like, it was only like a minor crime, so his arrest was only ever released in Japan, which limited the search radius, because if it was only in Japan on the news, Kira had to have been in Japan in order to see it and to write the guy's name. And it shows that it was nothing but an experiment, showing that for as many victims as he has taken, he hasn't been killing for very long. He doesn't know how he's doing it, but he taunts him, saying that you'll answer my questions when I catch you. Let's do this again soon, Kira. Like, that moment. I mean, I've watched Death Note a good number of years ago. I was in high school when I watched it, and it was on TV, so I actually had to watch it at a certain time. Just that moment alone has cemented in my head for over a decade, and it's still one of my favorite moments overall. There is nothing... Okay, 3 beat it on this list, but in terms of Death Note, no other moment beats the first deduction of Kira from L on the... And what made this moment even better is that it's the first bloody episode. I mean, I get that in a lot of detective shows, when it's done, like, near the middle of... Usually they wait for the middle of the season in order to do a reveal like that. But the fact that they did it in episode 1, and it actually made logical sense, I gotta give it a top spot on this list. So, L, I hate what happened to you, but your first moment on screen, literally, was mind-blowing. Okay, My Hero Academia. I can already hear my cousin in Stratford literally screaming right now. And I think I've gone deaf from it now. The arc with Eri and Chisaki, aka Overhaul, is one of the moments of My Hero Academia that actually brought tears to my eyes. And had, again, like Megalobox, like Promise Neverland, I was cheering nonstop in my head for this anime. From the moments with Kirishima and Fat Gum to just everything in general. Oh my god. The moment that I've chosen from My Hero Academia. I've had so many to choose from. Deku's first punch. The One for All fighting All for One. All Might versus fighting One for All. No, All for One. Sorry, All for One fighting All Might. But I already put them at the top of the list for my anime fights. But this moment just makes me cry. It makes me feel shocked. Because much like Windy eliminating his partner, and it's a moment I never saw coming. Because in a lot of superhero comics, the heroes don't always come out unscathed. It's never always the heroes win and the villains lose. Sometimes the heroes will lose too. And the moment I'm talking about is Lemillion's sacrifice. It is... Okay, honestly, Lemillion, I thought he was annoying at first. Mostly because of the art style of his eyes. Like, he looks like Charlie Brown a little bit. But watching him fight throughout the criminal organization, I can't remember what they're called, the Yakuza or something like that, but watching him do his phantom takedowns, like going through the walls and slamming into the guys, showed me that he is a real hero in training. And then he gets to the big room with Chisaki and Eri and the goons and those quirk-destroying bullets. There were moments in this when Lemillion is beating the shit out of everyone and getting to Eri, putting his cape around her to save her. And then the unthinkable moment happens when Chisaki's guy points the gun at Eri, and Lemillion knows what he has to do. Because if he uses his quirk, the bullet will go right through him and hit Eri. And he couldn't get to her in time and get away. So he sacrifices his quirk to save Eri until Deku gets there and starts beating the crap out of everyone. But in that moment, I feel my heart sink. And anime hasn't had an impact on me like that in years. Normally I can get over a good number of moments, but this just hurt. And I'm glad that I hope to where I am in the anime now that Lemillion gets his quirk back and gets back into the action, because I want to see him save. He saved his first civilian. I want to be there to see his millionth. Oh my god, I can't. I can't with this anime. I can't. Go to the next one. Alright. As if self-sacrifice isn't enough for number 3, it's got to be for number 2. And from one of my favorite anime characters of all time. It's been years since I've seen this anime. The spin-off that was on Bionics, which is Canadian anime, which is anyway, I watched the original and the one that was actually based on the manga. And it's been years since I've watched it all. But this moment really gets me. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. A good amount of amazing moments in this. But the one that always gets me, and still makes me cry, not only is it Troy Baker and Todd Haberkorn, their amazing chemistry in this show, but it's the moment that constantly makes me cry like a little child. Greed's selflessness is the number 2 spot on my list. Father trying to drain greed out of the kid, out of Lean, And Lean grabbing onto Greed's phantom-like form and not letting go because he's a friend. And then Greed tells him that we'll fight him together. I can deal with being Emperor of XIII. Let's do it, partner. And Lean smiles and then gets sucker punched by Greed, making him let go. And the moment that makes this sad is Lean saying that you told me that you would fight with me. And that, how could he say that? Because Greed, throughout, even though was a villain in the beginning, the one thing Greed never ever did, and that's something I love about him, and because it's something I rarely do too, is I rarely tell a lie. And Greed is the same. He never tells lies. And Greed laughs, saying that he fell for it. That it was the one only lie of his life. And that Long Fawn has a Philosopher's Stone, so Lean doesn't need him anymore. And then he goes into his father and tells the girl to chop his arm off. And Greed starts reversing the ultimate shield, making it into a fragile carbon. And it's just a heart-wrenching moment. And Father even asks why would Greed betray him. And Greed obviously has the snarky comeback that he's always had a rebellious streak. Don't act surprised. And honestly, Troy Baker, perfect role for Greed. And it just made the moment even harder when Father reaches out, pulls him out, and bites down, killing Greed. As he's wisping away up into nothingness. And he goes into some of the moments where Lean says that friends will be a part of your soul, and that the moment when Elric said that, why don't you join our team? And Greed looks back thinking, how did he let those idiots talk that way to him? And then he looks down at his friends and he says that he's had enough. Greed was finally satisfied because they gave him something that he's always wanted. Friends. He thanks them and he disappears. I know Full Metal Alchemist has a history of making symbolism through the sin's deaths, but Greed being selfless is one of the moments that will always make me cry, and one of the moments I will always be hoping that a lot of anime make scenes like this, because it's realistic. Because some people aren't that, for the sin of greed to do something selfless for someone else without him getting anything in return, it just makes you wish that he made it to the end. And Greed will always be my favorite Full Metal Alchemist character because of this moment, because of this one moment in the show. It's just a beautiful ending, and for the end of the episode, end of the series too, it's what made it beautiful. All right, gotta get on to the next one. So hit it. For the number one spot on this list, we have to go into the world of One Piece. Now, I know what you're all thinking. What is the moment that shocked you the most? Was it probably the Dressrosa arc, Luffy versus Flamingo? No. Sanji fighting his father in Whole Cake Island? No. Somewhere a little bit before all that, okay, a lot before that, this moment that's at the number one anime moments list for me is a moment that shocked me to my core, that had everything all these moments had: reveals, heartbreak, shock value, cheering all the way forward, and it's technically two things, but they're all in one. The Battle of Marineford, One Piece is real. The entire story of the Battle of Marineford is the number one spot on this list because of everything I've just said. Luffy breaking out of the prison to save his brother's life from being executed. teaming up with Buggy, Mr. 3, Das Bones, Crocodile, Jinbei, Ivankov, a whole bunch of prisoners from the prison, which is literal hell on earth, without his crew because they were all separated around this point. And not only Luffy and his ragtag prison escapees, but all of the Whitebeard pirates, which is basically an armada to save Whitebeard, trying to save his... Okay, he treats everyone in his crew as family, so his son Ace, to risk their lives going up against all the Marines, all the admirals, all the biggest warriors of the Marines, to fight, to save Ace, saving him. Luffy going up against all 3 admirals and freeing Ace. And then Aka Inu goes after Luffy, and Ace gives his life up for his brother. And he tells Luffy, he tells Garp, he tells the Whitebeard pirates, thank you for loving me even though I caused so much trouble. It's one of the moments in anime I'll never forget. And it's even made more awesome because Luffy was shocked stone cold after his death. It's always a moment that every One Piece fan will always remember. And as if that wasn't depressing and effed up in the moment, the Blackbeard pirates come in after Blackbeard rescues 4 of them out of Impel Down, and then recruits one of the jail guards to increase his numbers to show up to basically fight Whitebeard. Not only that, but Whitebeard almost beats the shit out of Blackbeard if it wasn't for his crew firing bullets at him like a cheap shot. And then we can obviously see that Whitebeard's time is almost done, and he's almost gonna die. But if Whitebeard is gonna die, he's gonna give the government and the Marines the biggest middle finger in anime history. He basically shouts out to the world with, transponder snails broadcasting it live to everywhere imaginable. With his last breath, he shouts out that the One Piece is real, that it exists. And then he dies standing like a monster legend that we know him to be. So that starts the new age of the pirate era. And not only that, but just because of Ace's death and Whitebeard's the big middle finger to the government, if that wasn't enough to make this moment. Oh, I also forgot the rest of the warlords. Mori, Boa, Hancock, Gecko, Mori, Flamingo, Mihawk, Kuma. All of them are there too, to add insult to injury. And Trafalgar Law, by the way, the Heart Pirates as well. I keep forgetting that. As they're escaping with Luffy, Aka Inu, the molten jackass, orders them to attack. And the one weakling from the beginning of the show, Kobe, who has become such a badass over these last few years, who is a Marine, and one of Luffy's first friends, tells him that they've done enough. The pirates are retreating. Ace is dead. Whitebeard's dead. And Marines are still getting injured and dying. What's the point? If everything's done, they're retreating. Just leave. We've won. Kobe keeps saying this to Aka Inu, who is the coldest, hardest guy in the show. That just stop. We can save our comrades if we just stop fighting. And for little Kobe, who I honestly thought was going to be a one-off character from the beginning, to have this emotional speech gets me every time. And then Aka Inu throws a fire fist at him and is stopped by the red-haired Emperor Shanks. Okay, so yes. The Battle of Marineford. Luffy versus the Admirals. Luffy saving Ace. Ace's death. Whitebeard's speech. Whitebeard's death. Kobe's speech. All the rest of the warlords are there. All these amazing characters are in this one spot, minus all the Straw Hats, mind you, doing this incredible battle, and then it ends in such a somber moment. This moment is one of my favorite moments in One Piece, and my favorite moments in anime, period. The Battle of Marineford and the Whitebeard shouting that the One Piece is real will continue to be my favorite anime moment, and a moment that will cement in people's minds once they get to this point in anime in One Piece, and it's a moment that will keep them going to enjoying this incredible series. And that's it for this list, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed, and it's honestly one of my longest top 13s ever. Like, comment, subscribe down below, and next month it's my mother's birthday. So all the videos she picked, and starting off, we're going back to game reviews, and you better get ready for some detective work, because we're going. Let's see, what kind of jokes can I make? We're going back to detective work. I got no jokes. Just join me next time for a classic, retro, and noir game review. This is Gamer K, logging out.